Welcome to Sidebar, where you vote on the internet's biggest buttholes. Am I the butthole for humiliating a man and his entire family when he proposed to me? I, 28, come from a very traditional Indian family. I left them when I came to USA for uni because I knew that if I accepted their help in paying my fees they would hold it against me later, and I got a part-time job along with the financial aid I was receiving. I maintained low contact and didn't visit them in person until I was 26, when they contacted me on my younger brother passing uni. For the last 2 years, I have visited them 4 times, and each time they'd been talking about marriage, although I stated very clearly that I wasn't interested. They brought up kids and how finding guys willing to marry older women was hard. I said no problem because I'm child-free and that I don't need/want them to find a guy for me. January this year, I went to visit them and they said that they had something special for me and that I would absolutely love it. The day after I reached their home, they said they were throwing me a welcome home party. I thought they were trying to fix our relationship and let it be. They invited a lot of people and it had obviously already been planned. An hour in, my parents introduced me to a man in his 30s. F and his parents. So, next thing I know, F goes down on one knee and whips out a beautiful ring. I'm surprised and angry at my parents for still trying to control my life and putting me in such a situation. I said no. But then our parents began to push my buttons and I exploded. I called F, his parents, and my parents' lowlifes for trying to trick me and basically insulted their views, calling them misogynistic and disgusting. Told them to go F themselves and left. I packed my bags and went to stay at a hotel until it was time for my flight. My mom cried and begged me to stay and said that they had already paid for half of the dowry and ring. I stopped responding to my parents' calls and texts because I was done with them. My cousins and some old friends have been telling me that I was being unfair by being so rude to F and his parents. Thing is, they weren't on it. They expected me to say yes and send me a lot of insults when I refused to reconsider. They were humiliated, and in their tiny group of small-minded people, my parents were being ostracized for raising a W of a daughter. F and his parents were also humiliated because they were rejected by a W. Am I the butthole for being so rude? I feel like I should have handled the situation more delicately, rather than blowing up at all of them. Did OP act like a butthole? Here's what Reddit thinks. Not a butthole. Don't go back up. Leave ASAP exclamation. Am I the butthole for telling my fiancé that his best friend can't be his best man? I know how it sounds. My fiancé, 29M, is an amazing guy, sweet, funny, attractive, and hardworking. I, 29F, was impressed with him from the moment I met him, and we've been together 6 years. We are devoted to each other and working toward building our shared life. We each put a percentage of our earnings into 2 funds, one for our wedding, which is a year away, and another for a down payment on a home. We each pay the same percentage, but I pay a much larger amount because I went into a higher income field. We budgeted it out pretty well. At this rate, we'll have enough to buy a home around the same time as our wedding, as planned. As to the wedding, we both wanted a small one, and my fiancé and I decided to have a destination wedding. We are paying for the entire wedding ourselves. My family's pretty poor, so I've also been saving a portion of my remaining paycheck to be able to pay for all of them to come to the wedding for free. I'm also paying for one of my bridesmaids who went into teaching and doesn't make much. My fiancé wouldn't really have the disposable cash to do that, but his family can afford to pay, somewhat wealthy, and is happy for the vacation. The problem arose last week. My fiancé's best friend Tom, 30M, who he asked to be his best man, got in an accident. It was likely entirely his fault as he was riding his motorcycle drunk. He suffered significant injuries, is going to have some major medical bills, and admitted to my fiancé he doesn't think he can afford to come. My fiancé wants to pay for him several $1,000s and lend him money to help cover his medical bills. But, especially with everything going on, my fiancé does not have and is unlikely to be able to get the money to do either. I could afford to do both, but I don't want to. Truthfully, I can't stand this friend. He often rides or drives drunk, does not have a job, makes snarky comments about my fiancé that he insists are just jokes, but that I know actually affect my fiancé, and lives in his parents' basement while ignoring their well-being. I was willing to have him up there as best man because my fiancé considers him a brother and it's his choice. I wasn't happy about it, but I was about to throw a tantrum about it. But with everything going on, my fiancé has suggested taking a huge chunk of our savings for a house to help, and I said no. We got in a huge fight and he called me selfish and cruel, at which point I lost it. Told him his loser friend did this to himself, and that there was no way in heck I'd pay anything for his sorry hours. I ended by saying, If he can't afford to come, he can't be your best man. He hasn't spoken to me since last night and slept in the couch. While I still think I'm on solid footing, I wonder if I went too far. Am I the butthole? Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says this. Not the butthole. You need to sit your fiancé down and tell him point blank that he is asking his fiancée to sacrifice her values and risk the down payment for your future house for a man who frequently drives drunk and is currently in a situation of his own making. Personally, I wouldn't be able to remain friends with someone who drives drunk. Putting your own life in danger, I don't really care. But risking other people's lives? That makes you among the lowest of the low in my mind. Your fiancé needs a serious reevaluation of his morals. Would I be the butthole by not telling a guy I've been dating for a month that I'm having artificial insemination to be a single mother? Prior to lockdown, I decided to be a single mother by choice. The journey to accepting this has taken 2 years and included counseling and a very thorough plan to ensure I could do this alone. I was happy with my decision, and I was at a good place in life where I realized my desire to be a mother was stronger than looking for a partner, which may or may not happen, and with my fertility declining, I chose to go down this path as a solo woman. Right before I was due to have artificial insemination with donor sperm, the pandemic hit, and treatments were canceled. There was no timeline for when things may reopen. For a few days I was devastated as I was so mentally prepared for this. And then I picked myself up and decided to park my plan. After all, I didn't have a choice. I downloaded a dating app out of curiosity and figured that I could still chat to guys and see what happened, without any expectation really. I've been talking with a guy, let's call him G, and it's only been a month, so very early stage. However, we met up twice, with a third meeting planned, spoken many times on the phone, and I get a really good feeling from him. For the first time in years, quite frankly, I feel emotionally connected with a man, and it feels completely natural and promising. During this time, my clinic called me to say they have had approval to open. And do I wish to go ahead this month with my treatment? I want to be a mother more than ever. So I said yes, and I'm now on medication with my appointment set for next week. While there's no guarantee I'll get pregnant on the first go, I have a conflict in my mind about informing G of my plan. On the one hand, it's at such an early stage of our romance without yet being anything committed that I feel like I'm bringing something up prematurely. On the other hand, I wonder what may happen as time goes on. Am I just delaying the inevitable? Is it deceptive of me not to inform him of something so fundamental in my life? A friend told me that I'd sabotage a potential relationship with him by telling him of this plan right now, and that a man who is really into me will accept me even if I'm pregnant, and that more time is needed for him to really get to know me. But in my mind, I'm wondering if it will pee him off by suddenly saying, hey, I'm pregnant. BTW. We've spoken loosely about wanting kids in the future, so I know he'd like a family. But it was a brief, passing comment. I'm also not willing to wait to get into a long-term relationship, and we are far too early on to be thinking about a family together. Would I be the butthole by keeping quiet about the plan for now? Did OP act like a butthole? Here's what Reddit thinks. Sorry, but you the butthole. This is very important information that you should share so he can make a decision as to whether they want to build a relationship with you. Before it was just you, now you are involving another person, who honestly you really don't need at all. If your primary goal is just to have a child, you should let him know while it's still early in the process and he's not that attached. Waiting would be trapping them. Am I the butthole for purposely stopping my classmate from winning an award and subsequently making her cry? This issue is honestly making me frustrated. Almost everyone is saying I'm in the wrong. People are talking behind my back and I genuinely don't know if what I did was correct or not. I just feel so lost. Please do help. I am 17. Suffered a major accident while cycling when I was 13. I have 2 really deep long facial scars. I have been bullied really bad because of it. I am tall, ugly, and intimidating as per most girls. People make fun of other people by saying things like, why don't you just hook up with you/throw away for what 19. I am honestly used to it. Those people didn't matter to me anyway. But there is this girl I had known since middle school. Let's call her back, I guess? Sorry. I honestly don't know how this works. I had a really big crush on her till a few days ago. I thought she was genuinely sweet and amazing. My family is incredibly supportive, so they urged me to ask her out. I can play a guitar, so I made this whole song for her. I went to the neighboring city to get her favorite chocolate and stuff like that. This was the first time I felt like really going and asking someone out in my life. And I felt that regardless of what I do, she shall see me for who I am and at least accept me as a friend. I was over the moon when she ended up accepting. We went to a fancy restaurant, had a fun time together, and walked for 30 minutes. She was really sweet to me. The next week or so was honestly heaven. People started noticing me. Even her friends seemed friendly with me. I honestly cried every day because I felt so fortunate to get so much love. It all broke down when a friend of hers, who was on Instagram and followed Beck, sent screenshots to me. I honestly felt betrayed and disgusted. She had posted saying fulfilled his lifelong wish by being his Valentine's, making his day by finally helping him interact with my friends. He is ugly but beautiful people accept ugly people #ugly poplamatter etc. Beck's friend then explained me that she apparently wanted a good social media image and had thus asked all her friends to be kind to me and tolerate me till the first week of March, and then distanced themselves from me. She apparently wanted to win some stupid positive role model award for her college application because she was lagging behind in community service, and thought playing with my feelings for a few days wouldn't hurt. And apparently since I was ugly she was the kind one to give me attention anyway. I was in tears and honestly felt disgusted. My blood was boiling. I researched about this award, found a Facebook page about it online. I went to the authorities to confirm if her name was on the nominations list, and then had my friends at work and family as alibi. She is apparently crying a lot because she received a message from the committee saying her nomination was withdrawn. I am now even more ostracized in school, but honestly I have no remorse whatsoever and feel far more satisfied. Is the poster a butthole or not? Reddit says this. Not the butthole. She's the ugly one here. Finally, here's our headline story of the day. Am I the butthole for catfishing my underage sister on Tinder and humiliating her in order to teach her a lesson? Last week, I was using my sister Ashley's phone because mine was dead and I needed to call a friend to confirm plans. Dialing my friend's number, I saw a Tinder notification of some dude messaging her. Immediately, I asked why she's on Tinder. She's 17 and she grabbed her phone back and said none of your business. I decided that I wanted to have a little fun with this. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just swiping for fun? So I didn't want to go straight to ratting her to our parents. To test if she was just using for fun, I decided I was going to make a Tinder profile of someone else and message her and see if she responds. I asked a good friend from back in college, who happens to be a male model, Kevin, if he'd mind if I used his pictures and explained the situation. He thought it would be hilarious and told me to go for it. I created the account, set my age to 22, set my swipe radius to a mile, and quickly found my sister's account. Her age was set to 19. Lie. She's still in high school, so I was definitely more suspicious of her now. I super liked, and less than an hour later, she matched and messaged me. I decided to set up a date to a fancy restaurant downtown for Sunday afternoon and told her we could head to my place afterward. She was completely receptive and said she'd meet me there. She told her parents she was hanging out with one of her track friends and spending the night at her place. After she left, I told her parents everything and showed them all of the messages. They were and I suggested we all go to the restaurant. My dad and I just went instead and saw her sitting at a table alone, all dolled up, waiting for Jim. My dad went up to her and said Jim's not coming, and she screamed and asked what we were doing there. I told her that there was no Jim and that it was freaking stupid of her to be trying to meet grown men on Tinder at her age. My dad harped onto that and lectured her on lying and meeting strange men on the internet, and being so willing to go back to a stranger's place. We were a bit loud, so people were starting to look at us, and my sister eventually bursted into tears and ran out. I told my friends in a group chat the situation and they all agreed it was hysterical, except 2 of my female friends who said I was a freaking dong and cruel to her. My other friends defended me and said she needed to be taught a lesson, wondering who's right and if I went too far. Is OP a butthole? Here is what the Reddit thinks. You're the butthole. You played a cruel butt trick on your sister because it would be fucking hilarious. I would have had difficulty, but ultimately probably came down on your side of you just told your parents when you first saw it. But you devised an elaborate trap first? No, butthole move. Now it's your time to vote on the buttholeness of the headline story. Is the poster a butthole? Let us hear your thoughts. Go to the pinned comment under this video. Please hit the thumbs up on the reply of YDA. You are the butthole if you think the OP could have been nicer. Or press thumbs up on the reply saying NTA. Not the butthole if you are on the same side as OP. Feel free to leave your opinion and reason why you voted for the option you did in the comments section. And join the discussion. For more buttholes, subscribe to Sidebar.